Hey everyone, it's Alex, and I am back with another update video for the 90th Academy Awards. I don't know if you can hear any noise in the background, but if you do, it's raining outside where I live right now, so that's the noise. But anyway, I'm here today to provide an update regarding one of the categories of the Academy Awards, and that is Best Foreign Language Film. Admittedly, this news came out a month ago, but I've been busy with other things, like I've said in my other videos, so I haven't had time to make this video until now. But don't worry, I'm getting more and more close to being on schedule with these. So what I'm going to be doing now, like I've done for the past 2 years, is I'm going to be revealing which films are eligible to compete for Best Foreign Language Film. Now, this is a unique category because it's the only category in which American films are not allowed to compete. That doesn't necessarily mean American filmmakers can't compete, because there is one film in here that was submitted by an American director, and I'll talk about that once I read through the list. American filmmakers can submit a film here, but that film, as well as all the other films on here, must have been primarily produced by another country. Also, films that are not in the English language are the primary contenders here. These films can have a little English here and there, but if they have more than I think 20 to 25%, then it's not eligible. And in fact, some films in the past have been revoked as being contenders because too much English was spoken in the film. And also, some of the other rules for this category are that the films in question on here must have been released in theaters in the home country before it is submitted to the Academy for consideration. If it was a made-for-TV movie, then it's not eligible. TV movies that have tried to submit themselves have usually been revoked once it's been discovered they were TV movies and not theatrical movies. And also, this is the one category where the films are not chosen by a specific branch, but rather of people from several different branches. Usually when Oscar voters fill out their ballots, they fill out the categories related to their branches. Actors choose the acting categories, directors choose the directing category, but everyone can nominate categories like Best Picture. Best Foreign Language Film, however, can only be nominated by members who serve on the Foreign Language Film Committee, and those members come from all different Academy branches. And what these members do is they have to sit down and watch a certain number of these films and then fill out ballots as to which films they like the most, and then from those ballots you get the short list of the final contenders. And from that short list, which will come out sometime in December, will contain what will officially become the 5 nominees once January comes around. Now, in the past, the Academy has broken the Foreign Language Film Committee into 3 separate groups, and each group watches a certain group of movies and then votes. Now it's a little bit different. Starting this year, each member of the committee will be given their own individual list of films to watch. They don't necessarily have to only vote on those films, though. If they see another film that was on someone else's list, either at a film festival or a screening, they are allowed to attend other screenings if they wish, but they must at least attend the screenings that are on their own list. If they see another film from someone else's list and wish to vote for that, they can do that. Those are the new rules that are in place this year. We'll see how it affects the voting once it goes into place. But until that happens, let's find out what the actual contenders are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off all the contenders in alphabetical order by country rather than film, which makes it easier to know where they're coming from. And this year, a record 92 countries have submitted films this year. Several are first-time contenders, and I'll talk more about those after I get through the list. And then once I go through all of these films, I'll talk about some of the ones that I recognize from playing at film festivals or just heard about in the news. So, without further ado, here are the 92 countries and their films that will be competing for Best Foreign Language Film for the 90th Academy Awards. A Letter to the President, Afghanistan. Daybreak, Albania. Road to Istanbul, Algeria. Zama, Argentina. Yeva, Armenia. The Space Between, Australia. Happy End, Austria. Pomegranate Orchard, Azerbaijan. The Cage, Bangladesh. Racer and the Jailbird, Belgium. Dark Skull, Bolivia. Men Don't Cry, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bingo, the King of the Mornings, Brazil. Glory, Bulgaria. First They Killed My Father, Cambodia. Hochelaga, Land of Souls, Canada. A Fantastic Woman, Chile. Wolf Warrior 2, China. Guilty Men, Colombia. The Sound of Things, Costa Rica. Quit Staring at My Plate, Croatia. Ice Mother, Czech Republic. You Disappear, Denmark. Woodpeckers, Dominican Republic. Alba, Ecuador. Sheik Jackson, Egypt. November, Estonia. Tom of Finland, Finland. BPM, Beats Per Minute, France. Scary Mother, Georgia. In the Fade, Germany. America Square, Greece. Haiti Mon Amour, Haiti. Morazan, Honduras. Mad World, Hong Kong. On Body and Soul, Hungary. Under the Tree, Iceland. Newton, India. Tura, Indonesia. Breath, Iran. Reseba, the Dark Wind, Iraq. Song of Granite, Ireland. Foxtrot, Israel. Asiambra, Italy. Her Love Boils Bathwater, Japan. The Road to Mother, Kazakhstan. Kati Kati, Kenya. Unwanted, Kosovo. Centaur, Kyrgyzstan. Dearest Sister, Laos. The Chronicles of Melanie, Latvia. The Insult, Lebanon. Frost, Lithuania. Barrage, Luxembourg. Tempestad, Mexico. The Children of Genghis, Mongolia. Razia, Morocco. The Train of Salt and Sugar, Mozambique. White Sun, Nepal. Layla M., Netherlands. 1,000 Ropes, New Zealand. Thelma, Norway. Sawan, Pakistan. Wajib, Palestine. Beyond Brotherhood, Panama. Los Buscadores, Paraguay. Rosa Chumbe, Peru. Birdshot, Philippines. Spoor, Poland. St. George, Portugal. Fixer, Romania. Loveless, Russia. Felicite, Senegal. Requiem for Mrs. J, Serbia. Popeye, Singapore. The Line, Slovakia. The Miner, Slovenia. The Wound, South Africa. A Taxi Driver, South Korea. Summer 1993, Spain. The Square, Sweden. The Divine Order, Switzerland. Little Gandhi, Syria. Small Talk, Taiwan. By the Time It Gets Dark, Thailand. The Last of Us, Tunisia. Isla, the Daughter of War, Turkey. Black Level, Ukraine. My Pure Land, United Kingdom. Another Story of the World, Uruguay. El Inca, Venezuela. Father and Son, Vietnam. And those are the films that will be competing for Best Foreign Language Film. And this year, there are 6 countries that are submitting films for the very first time. And they are Haiti, Honduras, Laos, Mozambique, Senegal, and Syria. So congratulations to those countries, and we'll see if they make the 9-film shortlist in December. Now, I have not seen any of these films yet, but I've certainly heard about some of them. Not a whole lot, but some, and I'll talk about those right now. I've heard of the entry from Austria, Happy End. That film, I believe, is about with people from the Middle East, immigrating to Europe because of all the civil war and conflict going on there. And this film will be interesting to watch not just because of that subject matter, but also the director. It's directed by Michael Haneke, who has had films be nominated for this category in the past. His film Amour actually won this category back in 2012, and another one of his films, The White Ribbon, was nominated in 2009. And Happy End actually has many of the same cast members as the film Amour, notably Isabelle Huppert and Jean-Louis Trintignant, if that's how you pronounce his name. The next film I recognize is Cambodia's entry, First They Killed My Father. This is the one with the American director at the helm, and that is Angelina Jolie. This film is actually available on Netflix right now for us Americans to watch, and I will be watching it soon. And this is a film that's based on the true life story of a Cambodian woman. I can't remember her name, I'm so sorry, but it's a story about a woman who grew up during the Khmer Rouge, which is the reign of terror in the late 1970s under the Cambodian dictator Pol Pot. And I believe this woman, whatever her name is, I feel so bad I can't remember it. She's now, I believe, a major human rights activist. Now, some people might be wondering why Angelina Jolie, of all people, is directing this. For those who know anything about her personal life, she has a deep connection to Cambodia. She adopted one of her children from that country, and I believe as a result of that she holds like dual U.S.-Cambodian citizenship. As to whether or not it will make the shortlist, I don't know, but the reviews for the film so far have been pretty good, certainly better than Angelina Jolie's last film, which was Unbroken. I myself thought that film was okay, but certainly not the Oscar contender it wanted to be. So we'll see what happens there. I don't really know anything about Canada's entry, Hochelaga, Land of Souls, but I am aware of its director, Francois Girard, if that's how you say his name. He directed a film called The Red Violin, which I saw a couple years ago. A very excellent film. It's a unique little film about this violin that's passed down throughout the centuries to various people in different countries around the world. I'm not going to say anything more because it's a film you should go into knowing as little as possible. And interestingly enough, one of the cast members in the film is Samuel L. Jackson. And I believe this may be, and I'd have to watch it again, but I think this is one of the few films in which Samuel L. Jackson does not say any swear word of any kind that's bleeped out on television. Because, normally in every movie he does, Samuel L. Jackson always says some sort of curse word, and it's very rare when he doesn't. Probably his best known example is the Star Wars prequels where he doesn't curse there. I don't believe he curses in The Red Violin, but I'd have to rewatch just to confirm that. But he is in the movie, and he is good in the role he's in. It's a pretty small role, but it's definitely him. Francois Girard also directed a film in the 90s called 32 Short Films About Glenn Gould, which basically is exactly the title, 32 little short films about the Canadian composer Glenn Gould. Even if you've never seen that film, if you're a fan of The Simpsons, you've probably seen the influence in that film because there was a famous Simpsons episode called 22 Short Films About Springfield, and that episode is pretty much The Simpsons tribute to 32 Short Films About Glenn Gould. And Francois Girard also directed a concert film of my all-time favorite singer, Peter Gabriel. Back in the 90s when Peter Gabriel went on tour for his album Us, his tour was called the Secret World Tour, named after one of the songs on that album. Francois Girard directed the concert film that was released on DVD. Wolf Warrior 2, I have no idea what that's about. I've never even heard of the first Wolf Warrior, but it's a Chinese film that's been a huge box office success there. If you go on boxofficemojo.com and you look up the 10 highest grossing films worldwide, not just the United States, but like the whole world, Wolf Warrior 2 is in the top 10. It's made, I think, almost $850 million last time I checked. France's contender, BPM Beats Per Minute, that is going to be a big one to watch because that film last time I checked, has like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that film's been getting a lot of buzz since it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival back in May. It's about activists in the early 1990s who were trying to raise awareness of AIDS. Many people thought it would win the Palme d'Or, which is the Cannes Film Festival's top honor, but shockingly it only got the second place honor, which is the Grand Prix. But just based on all the acclaim, it's going to be very shocking if this film gets left off of the shortlist, because it's just been receiving massive acclaim. It deals with a very potent subject matter, namely AIDS. Many AIDS-themed feature films and documentaries have been recognized by the Academy in the past, either with nominations or wins. So there's a very good chance they'll respond to this like they've responded to other films dealing with AIDS. Then with Germany's entry in The Fade, I don't really know what that film's about, but I do know that its lead star, Diane Kruger, won the Best Actress prize at the Cannes Film Festival earlier this year. Even if you don't know Diane Kruger's name, you probably have seen her face somewhere. Probably her most famous English language films would be National Treasure and Inglourious Basterds. And also, as I forgot to say earlier in regards to BPM beats per minute, and it can apply to In the Fade as well, the Cannes Film Festival is usually a very good launching pad for award season, and this includes both foreign language films and English language films. Just 2 years ago, Son of Saul premiered at the Cannes Film Festival to massive critical praise, and from that critical praise it managed to sweep all the critics' circles and win Best Foreign Language Film honors at all the smaller award shows, winning Best Foreign Language Film honors, and then of course winning the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film. Films like The Tree of Life and Amour, they won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, and they both got Oscar nominations for Best Picture. Foxcatcher received a lot of acclaim at the Cannes Film Festival, won the Best Director prize there, got several Oscar nominations like Best Actor for Steve Carell, Best Supporting Actor for Mark Ruffalo, Best Director for Bennett Miller. Now, obviously, not every film that's at the Cannes Film Festival is going to get Oscar recognition, but my point is that if your film receives praise at a big film festival like the Cannes Film Festival, or others like the Venice, Telluride, or Toronto, or New York film festivals, it brings awareness to those films, and it encourages more Oscar voters to watch them and possibly consider nominating them on their ballot. So, because hundreds of films literally compete for the Oscars every year, and obviously not every voter is going to be able to watch every single one of them, so they'll want to watch the ones that get the most buzz and get people talking. And those two films, particularly BPM beats per minute, could certainly do that. I've heard a lot of praise for the Israel entry Foxtrot. I honestly don't know too much about it. Norway's entry Thelma I've heard about. I believe that comes out in limited release in the United States this week. So some people may be able to see it before it possibly gets nominated. And I know it's like a lesbian romance film, but I think there's also some horror mixed in with it as well. Russia's entry, Loveless, is a pretty interesting one. It's directed by Andrei Zayvagintsev. I probably mispronounced that, but he's an interesting director because one of his other films, Leviathan, actually got nominated for Best Foreign Language Film a few years ago. And that film, from what I heard, was basically a big middle finger to Vladimir Putin and his administration. And obviously Vladimir Putin wasn't happy about it. And Loveless, I believe, is set in Russia and has a primarily Russian cast and was filmed in Russia, but because Vladimir Putin was so pissed off about Leviathan, he would not allow the Russian government to directly fund the production of Loveless, so Andrei Zayvagintsev had to seek international help to make the film. But as he said in interviews, his film is meant to be both a critique of Russians and non-Russians alike, because Loveless, from what I've read of the plot, is about a young boy whose parents are divorced and they're constantly fighting and putting him in the middle, like, you tell your father this, you tell your mother that. And so he said that the film is meant to be a critique to both Russian and non-Russian parents about how selfish, self-absorbed behavior, especially when going through something like a divorce, can be psychologically harmful to children. Then the next entry I'm familiar with is Sweden's entry, The Square. And that is the film that, to many people's surprise, won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. And that's an interesting film from what I heard. It's about like a museum curator and his art piece, and then something bizarre that happens involving it. I can't quite remember the IMDb plot, and it's one of those films where a lot of people have loved it, but I could definitely see from the way it's being described by some in terms of the plot, some people might find pretentious. And last time I checked, it had like a 76 or 77% on Rotten Tomatoes, which might hurt its chances a little with getting an Oscar nomination, because some voters may very well love it, but others might be a little iffy towards it, whereas BPM, beats per minute, has an almost perfect score of like 99. Maybe it dropped down to 98 or 97 by now, but my point is that BPM, beats per minute, has been getting more consistent critical praise than The Square. And interestingly, The Square also, while containing a primarily Swedish cast, also contains at least 2 English-speaking actors, namely Dominic West and Elizabeth Moss. But I'm guessing their roles in the movie must be very small, because if they, then The Square would most likely not be eligible to compete. And the director of the film, Ruben Östlund, this may be a shot of redemption for him, because he submitted a film a few years ago called Force Majeure, which made the semi-finalist list, and many assumed it would be nominated because it had been receiving so much praise, but it was shockingly not. And Ruben Östlund had actually filmed himself watching the Oscar nominations, hoping to see if his film would be nominated, and of course we see him find out live that it wasn't, and him breaking down into tears because of it. And I certainly felt bad for him when that happened. I still haven't seen Force Majeure, but I did feel bad for him having to watch live his film get snubbed, so maybe he'll be nominated this time, but they're not going to just nominate him simply because he wasn't nominated the last time around. And looks like those are all the films I'm currently familiar with at this moment. So like I said before, in December we'll get the semi-finalist list of 9 contenders. They always pick 9 to choose from, partly because of how they were always split into 3 groups in the past. Now it's going to be a little bit different in terms of how the vote is tallied. The goal is to still have the 9 semi-finalists, and from those 9 semi-finalists, 5 of them will become the official Oscar nominees for Best Foreign Language Film. And once those contenders are revealed, I'll be back with another video and go over those contenders in more depth and detail in terms of their plot. But thank you guys so much for watching this, and please let me know in the comment section below if you've seen any of these films and what you think of them. Please subscribe to my channel so you can get my newest videos as soon as they're uploaded, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!